What is going on, everybody? For those who don't know, I go by BLSG, and this is another Sixers video. If you guys are new to this channel, love talking Philly sports every single day. Go down below and hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you guys are instantly notified whenever I put up a new video. Speaking of the videos, I know it has been a while since I posted one of these actual videos, approximately 6 months ago, but that is not the purpose of this video that I am making for today. The purpose of this video is to talk about a potential Philadelphia 76ers playoff rotation for this upcoming year for the NBA playoffs for the Philadelphia 76ers, as they will match up with the Brooklyn Nets starting on Saturday, where they were able to finish in the regular season with a record of 54-28. That was good to be the third seed in the Eastern Conference. And like I said before, they will match up with the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the NBA playoffs. But like I said before, I want to talk about a potential Philadelphia 76ers playoff rotation. Even though, Sixers fans have known in the past that Doc Rivers can literally go ahead and play anybody in the NBA playoffs, as we have seen in the regular season. But these are my players who I think should get the head nod in playing in the NBA playoffs for your Philadelphia 76ers for this point in time. So with all that being said, let's get right into it. So, playing at point guard for your Philadelphia 76ers, in my opinion, is obviously going to be James Harden. James Harden has really just come in and been the player that we wanted him to be, and has been a great second or third option to Joel Embiid when we have needed him most in some pretty big games. Even though at times his shooting is off a little bit, he is also, when it comes down to it, he is known to be a great playmaker and has been known to make great plays and set up the offense for all the other players to set up their jump shots and their layups and all the good stuff. As James Harden, in terms of the stat line, he has come in and has put up 21 points a game, about 6 rebounds a game, about 11 assists per game. I know it's just 6.1 rebounds and 10.7 assists, but you guys understand the point. And then in terms of the defense, he averages 1.2 steals a game and half a block per game. So that is what it is looking like for James Harden going into the postseason. And not to mention that in terms of his shooting overall as a whole, he has been able to come in and be a 44.1% shooter from the field and has been shooting 38.5% from three-point range. And I do believe in terms of his free throw shooting, he is somewhere close to a 90% free throw shooter. And not that about an 88 or 87% free throw shooter, but he has definitely gotten a lot better in terms of his free throw shooting over the span of his career. And I definitely think that James Harden is going to take a huge role, as he has obviously done all season, in terms of the point guard spot. And we have never really thought about moving James Harden to the 2, but it really doesn't make a difference between him and the next player that I'm going to be talking about in just a little bit. But overall, James Harden is definitely going to be the guy that is going to play the 1 and also the point guard position. Playing the 2 for the Philadelphia 76ers, in my opinion, is going to be none other than Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey has also come in and has also played a great second or third option to Joel Embiid. And obviously, as we know, he has really had a great season this year, averaging 20.3 points a game, 2.9 rebounds a game, 3.5 assists per game, 0.8 of a steal per game, 0.1 of a block per game, and then 48% from the field for Tyrese Maxey, even though it does say 48.1%. And then has also come in and has been a 43.4% three-point shooter as well for the Philadelphia 76ers. Again, it does not show the free throw shooting for the players, but you guys understand that Tyrese Maxey has also been another player that's come in and has been a really nice shooter for the team. He's a really active player. He's very athletic. He shows that athleticism on the floor, and he shows that he has meaning and a heart for this Philadelphia 76ers organization. And he's also just going to be a player that's going to come in and help out Joel Embiid as well as James Harden. And he's really just going to come in and be the player that he has been all season based on what he has done over a certain stretch from March 24th against the Warriors to April 2nd against the Bucks. As long as he gives us that type of production going into the playoffs, I will have no issues with Tyrese Maxey playing as the second or third option to our center, Joel Embiid. Now over to my small forward selection. It is going to be none other than Tobias Harris. You could put him at the 3 or the 4, but we have been playing someone else at the 4, which again I will talk about for my next player for my playoff rotation. But Tobias Harris coming in at the 3. Obviously, we know as his career has gone, he has started to kind of, regress a little bit from his journey from like the Clippers over to the Sixers and all that. So in terms of what Tobias Harris has to offer, he has averaged this season 14.7 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game, 0.9 of a steal per game, and 0.5 of a block per game. And not to mention, he has also managed to put up 50.1% from the field and 38.9% from three-point range for Tobias Harris. So again, as long as Tobias Harris gives us a good solid amount of production in terms of what he did in the span of between March 24th against the Warriors to March 29th against the Mavericks, where against the Warriors he put up 23, the Suns he put up 13, the Nuggets he put up 16, and against the Mavericks he put up 13. So as long as Tobias Harris gives us more of the production closer to what he did back on March 24th against the Warriors, he definitely has a good chance of being the 4th option on this team. Maybe the 3rd if, kind of James Harden is not having a good shooting night, and maybe Maxey kind of falls into a little bit of a slump. But overall, I see Tobias Harris being a 4th option on this team, and I see him being a solid player going into the postseason for your Philadelphia 76ers, playing as the small forward. Now over to my power forward selection, we do have PJ Tucker, who will obviously take the 4th spot at power forward, as we have basically seen all year from PJ Tucker. Hasn't given us a lot of production in terms of the points per game, but again, guys, he is 37 years old, so again, as his career goes on, he will obviously continue to regress as a lot of normal athletes in the end, not just in the NBA, but in any league overall. But in terms of what PJ Tucker has to offer, he has been able to put up 3.5 points a game, 3.9 rebounds a game, 0.8 of an assist per game, 0.5 of a steal per game, and 0.2 of a block per game. And then in terms of shooting from the field and shooting from 3, he has been able to shoot 42.7% from the field and then 39.3% from three-point range, especially when it comes to the corner threes. PJ Tucker should hopefully get wide open from the corner and should be able to give us the production that we want and what we expect from PJ Tucker, which is hopefully close to 10 points a night, because by far, in my eyes, he is the worst player out of everyone in the starting lineup in terms of production. And then Tobias Harris will be the 2nd worst, and then in my eyes, it's going to be like Maxey at 3, Harden at 2, and then Joel Embiid at number 1. But overall, man, I just want to see some good, solid production out of PJ Tucker going into the playoffs. And we need to see playoff PJ, man. Usually playoff PJ Tucker usually goes off in the playoffs. So this year, with PJ Tucker being in Philly, I expect that again, as he has done throughout his career with teams like Miami and Milwaukee and any of the teams that he has played for throughout his entire career. And then playing at the 5 for me for Philadelphia 76ers is obviously going to be the true MVP of the NBA in Joel Embiid, who also, by the way, did win the NBA scoring title. So that was something that obviously I expected him to do, was win the scoring title over Luka Doncic. But overall, Joel Embiid has just really been so dominant in this league that he knows how to play the game of basketball. And this is basically the best basketball we have seen out of Joel Embiid in his entire career. As this season for Joel Embiid, he has been able to put up 33.1 points a game, 10.2 rebounds a game, 4.2 assists per game, 1 steal a game, and then 1.7 blocks per game as well. Joel Embiid has obviously been playing the best basketball and easily has played the best basketball of his career so far as a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. And then in terms of the shooting, man, he will come in and he has been able to shoot 54.8% from the field and then 33% from three, which is really good for a center like Joel Embiid. And as you guys could probably tell as I was going through the stats, Embiid has averaged a double-double this season for the Sixers, which is obviously really good for him. And like I said before, this has been the best season of Joel Embiid's career, in my opinion. And all you Sixers fans out there will definitely agree with me on this statement, saying that this has been the best season of Joel Embiid's career. And I expect him to continue to do that going forward into the playoffs to show why he has won the scoring title and hopefully will be winning the MVP. Now over to who I think will be coming off the bench for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think we are going to be going with the 10-man rotation when it comes to the postseason. But if you guys know Doc Rivers, man, he will go ahead and put in whoever he wants, just because that is just what Doc Rivers does, as he will go back to his old ways as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes ahead and plays the older guys like Dwayne Dedmon, Montrezl Harrell, if he gets some time for Larry, absolutely no reason, or anyone like that, man. But starting off on the bench, in terms of my first player off the bench, I'm going with Shake Milton, man. Shake Milton has come in and given us a solid season over these 82 games that he has played in the regular season, averaging 8.4 points a game, 2.5 rebounds a game, 3.2 assists per game, 0.3 of a steal per game, and 0.2 of a block per game. Obviously, we see that Shake Milton is not that big in terms of defense, but when it comes to the offense, Shake Milton has honestly been pretty solid overall when it comes to the bench. And then in terms of his shooting, Shake Milton has been able to shoot the ball 47.9% from the field and 37.8% from three-point range. So honestly, Shake Milton should come in and be a nice solid piece. If he can give us that span between 10 to 15 points a night, I would be perfectly fine with that, because as long as Shake Milton does his job, comes in and becomes that solid player off the bench that we need for the depth reasons, then I will be completely happy with what Shake Milton will hopefully, fingers crossed, provide us coming off the bench for the postseason. Now over to who I think is going to be in the shooting guard spot. I have Shake Milton playing in the point guard spot behind James Harden. And then in the shooting guard spot, I have DeAnthony Melton. No surprise here, as he has been one of, if not the best players to come off our bench this season, because overall, he has definitely been a great role player, a great player off the bench. As off the bench, he has averaged 10.1 points a game, 4.1 rebounds a game, 2.6 assists per game, 2.6 is what I meant, by the way, on that, 1.6 steals per game, and then half a block per game. So Shake Milton can come in, DeAnthony Melton can come in and give you some nice production off the bench as well. As one of our better role players off the bench, he is just going to come in and just be the player that he has been for the Sixers this season. And as long as he can shoot the way that he kind of did against the Mavericks back on March 29th and the Raptors back on March 31st, he definitely has a good chance of being and continuing to be one of, if not our best role players and bench players coming up for the playoffs. As back on March 29th against the Mavericks, he put up 17 points that game, and then on March 31st against the Toronto Raptors, he was able to put up 13 points that night. So, in my eyes, I do see DeAnthony Melton coming in and being one of, if not our best players off the bench and being a solid role player coming up for the playoffs. Now over to who I think is going to be backing up Tobias Harris at the small forward spot. You can play him at the 4 as well, and we'll just see what Doc Rivers wants to do. I mean, obviously, like I said before, anyone can make Doc Rivers' playoff lineup and his playoff unit as a whole, because that's just the way Doc Rivers is in terms of managing the game. Back when he was on the Celtics and the Clippers and teams like that, like anyone can make the team. Even when he was with the Sixers, as we've seen in the past couple of years, anyone can make the team, especially when you are under Doc Rivers' system. And at the 3, behind Tobias Harris, I'm going with Georges Niang. Georges Niang has also come in and been a solid player off the bench for the Sixers. Gives about the same production as Shake Milton has this season, and hopefully can bring that going into the playoffs, as he was able to managed to put up 8.2 points per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, 1 assist per game, 4/10 of a steal per game, and then 2/10 of a block per game. So again, not a big defender, but hopefully a solid scorer is what we're going to see out of Georges Niang, especially with the three-pointers from the wing and the corner is what we're going to want to see from Georges Niang. And looking over these last few games that I am seeing from Georges Niang, if he can give us production like what he did against the Mavericks with 14 points and against the Hawks on April 7th with 24 points, I really do think that there's a chance that Georges Niang can also come in and be one of our best role players coming off the bench behind Tobias Harris, whether if he goes behind him off the bench or comes behind PJ Tucker. But either way, Georges Niang should be a solid player coming off the bench for the Philadelphia 76ers going forward into the playoffs. Now over to who I think is going to play at our 4 spot for the postseason is going to be Jalen McDaniels. Jalen McDaniels overall has been a pretty solid role player since coming in once we got him from Charlotte. I do believe we either made a trade for him or got him at the buyout market. One of those two we did in order to get Jalen McDaniels, or either also could have signed him in free agency. Again, I don't know which one of those options we did for Jalen McDaniels, but overall, in terms of how he is as a player, he's come in and been a solid piece because this season he has come in and put up 6.7 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game, 8/10 of an assist per game, 7/10 of a steal per game, and then 2/10 of a block per game. So for Jalen McDaniels, man, he is going to come in and be hopefully a solid backup big man to PJ Tucker, Tobias Harris, whoever's going to be playing the forwards. I think it is going to be PJ Tucker in this given scenario. And I do have another player making the 5 who has obviously been really athletic for the Sixers this season. And again, I hope that the player that I'm going to talk about eventually can give us some solid production as what Jalen McDaniels can do. And then in terms of how Jalen McDaniels has been able to shoot all season, he's been able to shoot 49% from the field and then 40% from 3. So we're going to see some solid production hopefully from Jalen McDaniels when it is all said and done. And overall, when it all comes down to it, man, Jalen McDaniels just needs to come in and be the player that he has honestly been all season based on the stats that I just told you guys when he came from Charlotte to Philly, but I was talking about his stats with the Sixers, not his stats from the Charlotte Hornets. But overall, Jalen McDaniels should just come in and be the player that he is and hopefully be a solid backup to either PJ Tucker or Tobias Harris. And then the final player that, in my opinion, will make the Philadelphia 76ers playoff rotation is going to be none other than Mr. Paul Reed. Paul Reed has come in and has really been a great athletic player as a whole when he has come in, when it is all said and done. He has come in here and been a solid backup center and is the backup center to Joel Embiid, by the way, Doc Rivers. If you were paying attention to this video, played Paul Reed as the backup center and nobody else. I don't even want to see PJ Tucker playing small ball center for the Sixers when it's all said and done. But overall, Paul Reed coming into the playoffs is going to be a solid center. As based on what you see from the regular season stats, he has been able to put up 4.2 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, 4/10 of an assist per game, 7/10 of a steal per game, and 7/10 of a block per game. So overall, Paul Reed, in my opinion, has been a solid player over the course of his career. Also adding 59.3% from the field and has obviously not taken a lot of three-pointers overall, but shoots 16.7%. Do not expect Paul Reed to be taking three-pointers in the postseason, but expect him to take a lot of like layups and hook shots, kind of pull off his Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from in the paint or just in the field overall in general. But overall, I really do see Paul Reed coming in as the backup center to Joel Embiid. He's definitely gotten a lot better at his rebounding as well in his last game where he played in the final game of the regular season against the Brooklyn Nets. He also was able to put up a double-double with 17 points and 10 rebounds, as well as an assist, 2 steals, and 5 blocks, which that is the kind of production we need from someone like Paul Reed off the bench to be that backup center for the Philadelphia 76ers, which he better be the backup center for this team going into the postseason. And overall, I really do think that Paul Reed has definitely gotten better in his game, especially in terms of the rebounds. That's what he's going to come in and do for your team, especially. He might not be the best scorer behind Joel Embiid, but he's definitely going to be the guy that is going to come in to the Sixers and just be the guy that is just going to give you some solid production. Hopefully, he can give you about 10 to 15 points a night, give you a solid amount of rebounds, and play a little bit of defense, and hopefully put some assists in there, even though he's not a player that is known for his playmaking like James Harden. But overall, Paul Reed has definitely been the best backup center behind Joel Embiid. No, it's not Dwayne Dedmon. No, it's not Montrezl Harrell. It's not any of them. It's been Paul Reed. So that's who I think is going to make the playoff rotation for the Philadelphia 76ers for this season, man. So that's who I think is going to make it. Again, for a recap, I have James Harden at the 1, Tyrese Maxey at the 2, Tobias Harris at the 3, PJ Tucker at the 4, Joel Embiid at the 5, and then off the bench I have Shake Milton, DeAnthony Melton, George Niang, Jalen McDaniels, and Paul Reed, man. Give me your thoughts down below on what you guys think, on who you guys think is going to make the starting lineup and the bench. Let me know how far you guys think the Philadelphia 76ers are going to go in the postseason, and can they get off their streak of losing in the second round and have an opportunity to make it to Eastern Conference Finals based on the team that I just announced. Throw your thoughts down in the comment section. I want to see what you guys think, and let's go Sixers, man. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time, man. Peace out. Go Sixers!